Let's now see the where operator in practice. Okay, let's first start by checking the examples that we've seen in theory, okay? The first example that we've seen was to filter our collection based on elements that are bigger than 3, okay? So var elements bigger than 3 equal collections dot the simple collection dot where, and now comes our predicate, so I just want the numbers that are bigger than 3. Okay, keep in mind that the where operator and in general the LINQ operators, they do not change the input collection, but rather generate a new one based on it, and also of course the predicate and the LINQ operator that you are working with. Okay, so having said that, what we expect is that the output collection that we get here is a collection that only has 2 elements, and those elements are 4 and 5. Okay, let's see this. So let's just first right line something. So where simple example 1, like we've been doing so far with the other operators, and let's iterate over this collection and see that indeed the output that we get is the one that we are expecting. Okay, so let's just right line the number itself. Okay, so again what we should expect here is 4 and 5. Okay, let's run this and see if that's the case. And as you can see, that's exactly what we get in the output. Okay, and now to prove to you that indeed the input collection has not changed, let me duplicate this code here, change this to old collection, and let's iterate through our simple collection and see that indeed it hasn't changed. And as you can see, the old collection stays the same, but you get here a new collection that is the result of running the where operator and this predicate here. Okay, now let me remove this so that we don't have our code cluttered, and let's go to our second example. Our second example, if you remembered, is to test if there are any numbers bigger than 10, and if they are, we generate a collection with just the numbers that are bigger than 10. Okay, so as we know, in our input collection we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so we don't have any element that is bigger than 10. Now, as we saw in theory, there should not be an exception. Okay, instead we should have an empty collection. Okay, that's how LINQ works in the where operator, and as we saw, there are operators where the behavior is different, but in this case it just returns an empty collection. Okay, let's see by running the program if the output that we get is the one that we are expecting, which is an empty collection. And as you can see, we print nothing. Okay, which means that indeed our collection is empty. Okay, now let's create another example, but for our complex collection. Okay, for our complex collection, let's say that we are interested to know which person has the age bigger than 30. Okay, we want to create a people collection, okay, that only has people that have age bigger than 30. Okay, now how do we do this? Okay, let me just, for simplicity's sake, let me just copy this. People with age bigger than 30. Okay, now let's iterate over our complex collection, where for each person on that collection person.age is bigger than 30. Okay. Here is the complex example, number 1. Okay. And we should print, here is the person, and let's just print the person.name and their respective age. Okay. Now, which people are we expecting here? Okay, we are expecting Rita, Ruth, and Josh, because all of them have an age that is bigger than 30. We are not expecting John to show up because he is under 30. Okay. Now let's run this example and see that indeed we get what we are expecting. Okay. And if you look closely at the output console, you will see that indeed the people that we are printing, okay, each person has an age greater than 30, and you don't see John here. Okay. And with these 3 examples here that we've seen, you get a rough understanding of how where works. And just to sum it up, where doesn't actually change the input collection or source collection, it generates a new one. And if by chance the predicate that you've passed in here doesn't apply to any element, you get an empty collection rather than an exception. And this is the where LINQ operator.